Libra. This is a reading for you, Libra. Libra Sun, Moon, Rising. If you've got Libra Sun, Moon or Rising or Venus, or Libra North Node, or if you have strong Libra placements in your chart, this could be for you. If you stumble across this, it might resonate with you. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, like, or share if it resonates with you. And see what's going on with you, Libra. Ooh, okay. Oh, the Emperor. It's Aries energy. So you might be Libra. You're feeling ballsy. you're in a leadership. You might be connecting with an Aries. Bearing in mind Aries is your opposite. You need to take the reins. Maybe you're taking the reins now. You've had a shake-up. This is why you need to then, now take leadership over your life, over things that maybe you haven't been taking the lead over. Now the Tower doesn't necessarily mean catastrophe. It's followed by a rebuild. Things may have fallen apart for you, or you felt as if things have. This could signify, loss of job, or a loss of confidence, or just feeling as if you've been taking a few knocks recently. Destabilizing, coming unstuck. But that's a good thing, because it simply means that certain things had to fold, certain things had to fall down, certain things had to fall apart in order for you to review the chaos and build up again, rebuild things. Usually the Tower comes in when things need to be shaken up, when things need to go, when, necessary changes, and it can feel very destabilizing, unstabilizing. It can feel as if, you're not able to control, or you lose control, or things are out of your control. And this can be helpful, because it's making you aware that you don't always have to be in control, or the things you thought you were in control of, you weren't. You didn't need to be, or it can be relating to, I feel as if it's relating to your stability. I feel as if it's making you question, what have you been investing in? What have you invested in that hasn't been worth your investment? You might have taken a hit to your finances, and this has made you feel destabilized. This has made you question what's important. This could be, I'm feeling, as sometimes a loss of resources. In this case, because your world has feeling perhaps that it's not necessarily collapsing, but you could have been clinging on to the wrong things. And now there's a shake-up, a wake-up call. Your world could have felt like it's kind of fallen apart. The things you thought were stable, where you felt you had stability, it wasn't as stable as you thought. And so now you're going to have to possibly rethink, assess, rebuild, work out what's important, the things you need to let go of, re-establishing. You could be having to re-establish connections. Your security was possibly a false sense of security. You've not lost it all. This could be some energy surrounding you. This could also be a bugbear for you, that as stable as you are, there's an undercurrent of you feeling as if you were depending on maybe somebody else's stability, security. Perhaps you've been desperately hanging on to things that don't really matter. Material things. It might benefit you to clear out the clutter, to work out what's actually important to you and what simply isn't. You have some regrets over something, Libra. Regrets over perhaps not having been focusing on the important things and being maybe frivolous as well. And putting too much importance on the material and not enough importance on your spiritual growth, on the things that are going to enable you to evolve and grow. And you may have been very focused on, overly focused on the material. And the towers come in to remind you that by clinging on or giving the material far too much importance. Maybe you've taken, as I said, there's been taken a hit to your finances, and you may find that you're having to live with less, and you need to get to a point where losses is often a blessing in disguise, because it can be clearing away the things that are really unnecessary to make room for the new. And I feel as if with the Seven of Pentacles, you're having to literally take a restock. Like, you know, you're having to ask yourself, what have I been working towards? What have I been working towards? Just what, to have more money? What, to have more financial security? You know, is that making you happy? Is that all that, you know, there is to life? Is that all there is? Are you questioning, Libra, how much focus that you might have been putting into money, assets, wealth, achieving, overachieving. Because you need to also consider how you need to be looking at your communication skills too. Are you saying what you mean to say? Are you speaking from the heart? Are you getting caught up in your head over heart, not listening to your intuition? Is there someone around you who's behaving or coming across with kind of immature communication? Are you not speaking your truth? Is there anxiety attached to communication, what you want to say, but you're too afraid to say it because you're looking over mistakes that you've made and you're wondering how to rectify them? With the Tower, things falling down, things falling apart, maybe having to rebuild from scratch as a direct result from not listening to your inner voice, as a direct result from ignoring spirit, ignoring your intuition. Let's see. Something's keeping you up at night. You need to have some time out. You need to rest and recover, because once the Tower hits, it can hit you sideways, it can hit you full on, it can feel like a train crash, or it can be less, it can be more subtle than that. But in whichever case, after a series of events or an event that's sort of shaken your world a little bit, or what you considered was stable but wasn't, you need to have some R&R. You're going to need to have some rest and relaxation. You're going to need to recoup your energy. You're going to need to, Four of Swords, allow yourself a little bit of recovery time. And understand that happiness, if you think that, you're going to find happiness through the transient things that aren't going to create long-term happiness. Remember, happiness is not a destination. Happiness is not permanent. Happiness is always transient. It's a frame of mind. It's a state of being, but it's not permanent. We take the rough with the smooth. This concept that we want to be happy. Well, yeah. Some days you might feel happy. Some moments you might feel happy. Other moments you're not going to, because life isn't like that. You're not going to be in an eternal state of bliss and happiness, because that isn't realistic. Perhaps you had felt happy, and then the tower hit and you found yourself in a place where you had to admit that you weren't feeling particularly happy, well, it will come around again. You know, you're going to find moments of happiness and you're going to find yourself in moments of sadness. It's a balance, as you well know, being scales of balance. But listen to your heart more, because I feel as if you've been following your going more with your logic, going more with your and this is a struggle. This is your pathos, if you like, as a Libran. You have the heart and you have the head, and you have your mental energy, and you have your heart. Now you have always got to be in a state of keeping that balance throughout as much as you can, so that your heart doesn't dictate too much, your head doesn't. You know, it's your big challenge to keep them balanced. Are you operating from your mind? Are you operating from your heart? Are you managing to keep that balance? Are you going to be understanding from now on that you can operate from your heart? Because I feel as if you've been operating from your mind, operating from your logic far too much, and this could be, you know, effectively the reason why you've had this destabilizing moment. And questioning what it is that makes you happy. Yeah, you've got everything you need. I mean, you have the Nine of Cups, which is, it's not completion, but you also have the Ten of Cups. So in the Nine of Cups energy, you're understanding that you can, the love, you know, your heart, you can bring that to you. You can bring all that back to you. You can love on yourself. You don't need to be looking for love externally to you. You know, this isn't how it works. You can't, you need to be loving on yourself. Love yourself in order for you to be able to love other people, love other experiences, love what you do. If that's not happening within you, and you're not investing that love within yourself, then it's futile, because you're not going to be able to extend that outwards. So be careful there, Libra, and be careful as well about overextending, helping other people too much, neglecting your own needs. With the Six of Cups here, you know, are you overextending from a place of lack, because you're not putting enough love into yourself, because you're not operating from your heart space and you're operating from your head space? Are you giving with the expectation of receiving? And that's causing problems, because if you're giving with expectation of receiving, perhaps you're looking for reciprocity, but that if you have the mindset that you're giving in order to receive, that's not really giving. That's creating a deal, isn't it? It's saying, well, you know, if I give you that, I'm expecting this back. That's not even love. That's maybe you grew up with a sort of dysfunctional understanding of what love is, like a reward system. You know, if maybe you grew up in an environment where you were given love as a reward, you know, if you behave well, if you do this, then, you know, we're going to love you, we're going to be nice to you. If you don't do what we want you to do, then we're going to take that away from you. And this could be something that you have to question and look at now. You know, what was the model? What was the model of love as you were growing up? Was it a reward system, you know? Maybe that's something to think about. I feel as if, because Libra, you often thrive better in partnership. You know, you're ruled by Venus. Many Librans I know and have met and been friends with or are friends with, they thrive better in partnerships, and perhaps you have clung to this idea that you need to be partnered in order to experience love, in order to be loved, in order to give love. That's not the case at all. You can love yourself, and the more love you have for yourself, the more you're going to be able to extend that out to other people. And this is maybe what you do. You overextend, but you're not really giving. You're giving with the objective to receive. And you have Temperance, which is about being patient with yourself, which is about being able to keep yourself grounded, which is connection to spirit, while also keeping yourself, you know, with a firm footing on the ground here. Being able to keep that balance of grounding yourself, keeping yourself present, keeping yourself putting yourself in a place where you can receive, you know, perhaps downloads, perhaps being more in touch with your spirit guidance, you know, divine connection to the divine, while also simultaneously managing to keep yourself very earthy, very grounded, very practical, pragmatic, as well as spiritual. That's also quite a balance to achieve. Earth Angel. Perhaps you are an Earth Angel and you're struggling with the your soul, your spirit, and being present in the you know, as a soul, having the human experience. And maybe you're struggling with that. Maybe you've gone through a spiritual awakening where you're finding achieving the balance, connecting with spirit, but also connecting with the earthly realm, a bit of a challenge at the moment. And this could be something that has come to light recently, that you're also finding to be quite challenging. But what else do you need to know, Libra, that can help you? What's going to benefit you in the long term, and, you know, recovering from this tower that you've seemingly just gone through? Yeah, going with the flow, being more flexible, allowing things to unfold naturally, not clinging on. Don't be clinging on to the debris and the rubble and the, you know, the aftermath of, you know, anything that's feeling that it's fallen apart. Make sure you get enough rest. Make sure you do that when you need to. If you need to have a nap during the day, if you can, if you're in a position to be able to have a nap, or a cat nap, or, you know, 40 winks, let yourself do that. Don't be pushing all the time just because you feel that you've got to rebuild something that might have just, you know, maybe you don't need to be even considering rebuild at the moment. Maybe you need to be considering taking care of yourself as your top priority. Yeah, and being in the present. Gemini had this, you know, to be able to ground yourself, to be able to exist within the present moment, because all we have is now. We don't know what's happening in the future, and we can't be living in the past. You know, that creates anxiety. If you're looking back, living in the past, you're going to find yourself living, you know, you're going to be anxious. If you're projecting too far into the future, thinking ahead, constantly thinking ahead, you're going to be anxious. And all we have is now. So if you can remain present, be in the present moment as much as you possibly can, ground yourself, then you're going to find things are going to be much easier for you to navigate. So be in the present moment as much as you possibly can. Meditate. Meditation can help, even if it's 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Stillness. Be allowing yourself, empty your mind, let yourself just be. Go to a place, you know, go and find stillness, quietness, unplug, detach, screen time, less of it, outdoors, nature, more of it, and you're hopeful. You know, that shines within you, your beacon of hope. Never give up, even when things feel difficult. You know, you just need to hang on to any strands of hope that, you know, after devastation or things falling apart. It could have been a relationship that fell apart and you weren't expecting it, and you don't know quite how to sort of get through. And make sure you speak your truth, and do, you know, doing it freely, with ease. You do have the Page of Swords. You might be needing to work on that, your communication, how you communicate without feeling as if you're going to be treading on anybody's toes or upsetting anybody's feelings, or because it's better to be honest, even if it does mean that you might be upsetting somebody. It's far better to be honest and speak your truth than, you know, be scrabbling around with you know, in a heap of lies or a heap of untruths that are only going to dig you into a deeper hole. So always speak the truth. It's just, and you're also wondering your ideal self. You might have found that you've kind of lost a bit of touch with who you are, your essence, the person you're supposed to be, the person that you know, God created you to be. You could have gone off track here. You know, you might want to be asking yourself, what's your ideal? You know, what's your ideal self? Who are you? When have you felt your happiest? When have you felt your most fulfilled in life? When have you, think back perhaps to, and this isn't about living in the past, this is an exercise where you can consider, when did I last feel happy? Or when did I last feel contented? When did I last feel that I could breathe? When, I mean, for me it was today. I'm lucky like that. No, for me it was today, because I took time out and I was being able to appreciate my environment and be thankful and grateful and peaceful, and, you know, at peace with myself, at peace with the world, at peace with, you know, anybody I encounter today. You know, smile. It helps. You know, even if you fake a smile, it can trick your brain into, you know, genuinely smiling and feeling that inner happiness. Ask yourself, you know, when you last felt that emotion, which is transient. You know, we're not always in a state of happiness and euphoria. That's not realistic. But we can create pockets of happiness, throughout our daily lives. It's unrealistic, as I said, to be happy all the time, but it is realistic to be able to find things that bring your happiness out, to make you feel good about life, because that's what happiness really is. It's when you feel good about life, when you feel good about your life, when you feel, everything's fine. So ask yourself, and we have plenty of stuff and responsibilities in our day-to-day life that can make us feel not that happy. Mundane chores, things that we just have to do, just to keep a roof over our heads. You don't always enjoy every minute of every day, but try to do that. Don't get into the negative self-talk like, oh, I really hate doing this, I really hate having to do this, because you don't really hate having to do it. It's just a kind of mindset. You can enjoy anything if you put your mind to it. If you tell yourself, I'm enjoying this, be mindful, be in the moment, be present. If you're doing a mundane chore, for example, if you're doing, so washing up, be present in that moment, enjoy it, focus on it, as you're doing it, do it with, intention, not rush through it. Oh, I have to get this done because Just do it, enjoy it as you're doing it. Be more sensual about it. Enjoy the feeling of the water on your hands, or the ceramic you're touching, you're feeling, you're cleaning. Without thinking about the next task. That's mindful living, and that's something that perhaps you need to practice. Well, there we are, Libra. I hope that was helpful. It wasn't the easiest read for me, because I think there's a little bit of confusion going on in your life at the moment, but I definitely would suggest you take time for you. Take time out to watch the clouds. If you're not being able to take time out to watch the clouds, you're going too fast and you're not appreciating the now. So if you can't find a moment in the day where you take time out just to watch the clouds, just to appreciate the small things, just to appreciate the beauty of the world, then you're going too fast and you're not appreciating what the beauty of life. So consider that. Anyway, I'm sending you love, wishing all the best. God bless. Take care. Bye for now.